humans of the world.
Hey everybody, welcome to Thistru with Adrian and Melissa.
What's up, y'all?
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Amazing. We're glad to be here. We got to give some quick shout outs to all of you that engaged with us on social media. We love you. Shout out to Bagels98, Penelope Beat, Sunny Bird Botanicals, St. Patty's Pisces. How do you say that 4 times fast? Right?
St. Patty's Pisces.
Kelly Lynn, Sarah Bird, Alan Bronson, and Kendra Dawson. Thank you. We appreciated your feedback online.
Yes, thank you so much for your time, your attention, your vision, all of it.
All of it. It's perfect because today, here's a little quote in reference for today's topic, which is expired friendships. Eek. So there's a quote and it says, people enter your life for a reason, season, or a lifetime. So I kind of want you to think about that as we get into our topic today.
Let that simmer in a little bit. And it's for our definitions. We're going to define friend, friendship, and expire.
That's right.
Friend, a person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically exclusive of sexual or family relations. A person who is not an enemy or who is in the same side. A familiar or helpful thing. Friendship, the emotions of conduct of friends, the state of being friends. And expire, cease to be valid, typically after a fixed period of time, come to an end.
Well, sounds about right.
So let's see what Webster, how right Webster really is. But we have a special guest with us today because this conversation is just way too good and way too bomb to have it just with us. We wanted to have more perspective, more vision, and I think this person is the perfect person to invite to this, and who is the person who inspired me to really trigger this topic and bring it up to you for us to discuss it. Her name is Sasha Williams, and she's a prophetess, a holistic wellness coach, a creative content producer, and her slogan is, "We make vibrant, dope lives."
I like that a lot.
Right? Welcome, Sasha Williams, via Skype.
Hey, Sasha.
Hello. Good evening, guys.
How are you?
So perfect. Life is real good.
That's right. Well, welcome. We're so excited to have you here.
Right. So,
I guess before we dive into our topic, I really liked. I want to dive into actually Webster's definition.
Dive it.
Yeah, because there's so much more that comes with being a friend and appreciating one's friendship. So I think it's necessary that we acknowledge what friendship means to us. So I want to propose the question to our guest here, Miss Sasha. Let me ask you, what does friendship mean to you?
Friendship is dependability. Friendship to me is being able to count on someone, whether, and I think maybe it kind of changes, but being able to depend on someone, to trust them with what you vulnerably share.
That's right. That's good. That's good. Would we have anything to add to that?
And also reciprocation, and more of that idea that friendship doesn't last forever. So a friend is just someone that's bringing a gift. Like, I like to look at it, someone who's coming into my life to teach me a lesson, to share something with me, to make me aware of something that I need to be aware of, or to really get my stuff together.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I roll with what Miss Sasha said here. I was thinking about that question, and I was like, friendship to me is reliability. There's a sense of, okay, there's a habit that's created when you have a friendship, so you become, I guess, not dependent, but this is what you can expect.
Right.
So, and of course, trust and a sense of loyalty in friendships that's part of being a friend. That's part of evolving into being close. So I just really wanted to get that out there because we're going to talk about expiring friendships. So
right. So we needed to know what a friend is first.
Yeah,
right?
and what it means to have to lose somebody, or make the decision to let somebody go, right? So yeah, with that, let's get into it.
Well, let's get into it. So I think the first point I want to kind of touch base on is this idea of ghosting, right? And whether ghosting falls into like ghosting out of guilt, or you ghost because someone feels wrong, or is a lack of communication. Like, what causes someone to ghost? So Sasha, I'll touch it with you. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about ghosting?
I love our absolutely rude society. We're so great. Like, where does this word come from? This was not around a couple of years ago.
No.
Ghosting. I love it. Ghosting to me is very simply us, trying to live social media lives in real life, but just being able to remove someone from our friend list. And it is so perfect. I love it. And actually, it's become acceptable. I love our evolving society. This is great.
Well, I think that ghosting always kind of really existed. We just didn't have a name for it. But I think that there was always like, a friend or even a relationship, and romantically or not, where it's like, oh, they were talking to you and then they just stopped talking to you. I mean, I remember when it happened to me. It was in high school, and it was my junior year, and I was in a group of friends. There was 3 of us. And me and one of the girls kind of went through a spat. She kind of stopped talking to me. And so I went to the third person, and I was like, hey, like, do you know what's going on with this girl? Like, what happened? And she's like, I don't know. I don't have anything to do with this. You guys figure it out, and kind of just stepped away. And then they just both stopped talking to me. I never had an explanation as to why until like years later. And they just stopped talking to me from like literally from one day to another. To me, I was just like, but what did I do? What happened, And so I think the idea of ghosting kind of always existed, because this was a long time ago, in like the 90s, late 90s. And I'm not trying to age myself, but it's reality. So obviously it was happening then amongst friends. It's fine. I'm proud. So, I think that this is something that always existed. Now that we have a name for it, because we're nice and trendy and millennial. But I think there's always been people who really don't communicate effectively and don't know how to communicate their emotions of what they feel, so they kind of just remove you or expire you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the term ghosting, I always relate it to relationships, and probably because that's what I used to do. Mm-hmm. But in relationships and friendships aren't really, there's not much of a difference. If you think about it, at least to me, I was sitting there and I was like, well, the only thing that's different is that you're not having sex with your friends. I mean, some of you are. Kudos to you. But I mean, and the other aspect that I was thinking about and kind of doing a little bit of research is that even when you're dating somebody, you're dating just them. But when you become friends, you become close with their family, mm-hmm. or with their children, mm-hmm. or so there's a broader connection, mm-hmm. with your friends. And so, this whole ghosting aspect, or when you're separating from somebody, you're not only separating from them, but you're separating from like their family, mm-hmm. their kids. And this is where I was thinking more of that feeling, like, how do you, that's painful. So,
right.
So when you're coming to this whole, oh gosh, like they did me wrong, there's that aspect, right? Mm-hmm. Where I think everybody has, like, we had the poll online. It was, mm-hmm. like, hey, what was your last or your most impactful, mm-hmm.
friendship
breakup, if you will? And the one option was either it was just naturally going separate ways, or number 2, there was a negative event, or number 3, that caused it, or there was both. Yeah. And so I think most people had both, mm-hmm. Which is, we'll get into that later, because mm-hmm. I have my thoughts on that. Mm-hmm. But it really made me think of, I guess, as you get older and the longer your friendships are, I think longer term. Mm-hmm. I don't know if ghosting is, that's...
You think it's like a more younger, immature thing?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Well, and I think when you ghost, like, it's because you lack the communication skills.
Right.
I really believe
like
that.
It's a character thing, or a conscious choice, right?
You just lack the communication skills of having
communicating your emotions, or what you're actually mad about.
Yeah. But yeah, so that needs to go.
Right. This whole ghosting thing is not it. So a tip they don't care about you and your best interest, then it's, you know, the person that needs to be in your life. And then later on, like in my situation, we, after college, I think it was maybe my third year of college, we kind of talked about it, and, you know, she kind of gave me her piece as to why she cut me off abruptly that way, and like what it was. And not that I was right in the situation, because I did do something that made her uncomfortable, but I would have liked her to give me the opportunity to have explained that to her then, and why I made that decision then, because there was a reason why I made the decision that I made at that point. But she never gave me the opportunity to. So I feel like once we had that talk, it was just kind of on my end, it's like, I mean, what's the point? I lost my friend for 4 years of my life because she didn't want to communicate something to me. And we're great friends now. We've built past that. So thankfully we did with the friend that I had the direct issue with, but the third party got the short end of the stick because she really just made a decision without even being involved. So I couldn't really forgive that too much. So,
you know,
yeah, go on.
You know, I think there's so many varied sides to ghosting, because there's your perspective, but then there's other perspectives. I've heard some people say that they just didn't know how to approach a situation.
Right.
You know, and like you were saying, yeah, a lot of people, when they hear ghosting, it's about relationships, because that's the easy way to get rid of your Tinder date.
What you know about Tinder date?
but yeah, that's just what that is. And so rather than us actually, like, and then sometimes those relationships, you don't quite feel like they've been built strong enough where they warrant explanation of why. Like, you kind, like in our social media culture, we kind of walk into situations and are kind of like, yeah, you may be here today, you may not be here tomorrow, I may not like you, you know. And rather than the longevity that we are used to when we kind of were growing up in the 90s. So, you know, there are so many different ways about why people are ghosting. Sometimes they're uncomfortable. Sometimes they don't know what to do. Sometimes they don't care. And sometimes it's maybe life just shows up and they get really stumped by whatever's happening. And it's neither you or them. It's just the circumstance, you know. And so I think the biggest lesson would be, how do you handle ghosting? Because, you know, if that makes you feel rejected, well, number one, it should, but how do you respond to being rejected? That is the bigger lesson. So if that's what they gave you as a parting gift, well, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. My personal growth game has stepped up a little bit.
Right.
That's
a great perspective, actually.
Yeah, really good, because that sees all sides. And honest, I mean, I know grown people that ghost, and they're like, oh, you know, I'm too old to like think about people's, you know, try to like explain to people what they did wrong and where they did wrong. Like, I'm too grown for that. But I think it's important to communicate things to people. I mean, we learn from each other, we experience with each other, and so I think it's our responsibility, not every time, because some people are just going to be who they are and you can't chase anybody or change your mind. But I think in a lot of ways it is our responsibility to communicate someone when they were like a shitty person, or they did something that was incorrect, because they might not know. Like, some people are really,
or they just might.
They might know, and they might be a-holes. Yeah, that's possible. But then there are times that the people are moving in a certain way out of habit and doing things out of habit, that they really don't have knowledge of the fact that what they do is now reaping a consequence, and you need to know why. Whether the response is like,
but the consequence for who?
Well, you're reaping the consequence of losing a great friend because you...
But what if they didn't think that was so great?
I think if you're in this conversation, you're about to ghost, I think that at that point, even if it wasn't like a really close friend, there was something there. You were spending time with this person. This is somebody in your life. Whether people are going to be comfortable admitting it or not, this is somebody you cared about, whether you want to, you know, admit it to them or to yourself. But I think it deserves a conversation. I'm, you know, I told you, I break up with my friends. Like, the friends I've expired, I've broken up with them. I sit down with them, either a coffee, either something else, and I'm gonna like inform you that I am leaving your life because I might not give them all the information, right? Because there's certain things that I'm gonna go through about, but I'm not gonna really tell you what they are. But I think I owe you that. If I cared about you, if I spent time with you, if I shared experiences with you, I owe you at least some type of information that you can learn from. I think that we're supposed to be learning. We're supposed to be experiencing. I know I would like someone if they're gonna stop talking to me out of nowhere. I would rather them at least leave. You're gonna leave, okay, got it. But at least let me know something that I could learn from this experience. Because then, what is it for, really? You know, like, what are we doing this thing for? What are we doing? We're supposed to be learning from each other. And I guess that goes with my definition of friendship, right? And what I see friends to be. I see friends to be lessons and experiences. And so I guess that's my expectation of learning something out of it.
But that's a high expectation to expect somebody to be able to communicate, like, what they're feeling, what they're thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
definitely
so.
not. Yeah,
so
it's gonna
the
be
lesson
high.
can be. I mean, in a ghosting situation, it's, you know, or whatever. I mean, to me, it's just so juvenile.
Yeah, it's
not
very immature.
But if that was to happen to me, I'd be like, okay, well,
peace. I mean, at this point, I really don't care much. But you know,
yeah.
What about the friendships that? Oh, you wanted to touch something else?
No, I was just curious about. I actually was curious to ask our guest. I think, what is the most impactful friend breakup that you've had, and would it be from just naturally separating? Naturally separating, or B, if it would be, you know, that friendship breakup was due to one specific negative event.
Oh no. I'm very loyal and I'm very patient. And so I allow people time to grow and understand that some seasons, you're not going to get it right a bunch of times. And that's okay. So, you know, as long as you're making an effort to continue to move forward, I really work to maintain my friendships. But the most impactful friendship that I had to break off was couple years ago, actually. It was actually a group of friends, not just one friend. And one friend triggered the relationship with all the other friends, because it's like, once you break up with one, you have to break up with everybody else.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it was a really big moment for me, because we became family more than just friends, and then we were also business partners. But
gets complicated and sticky, that for sure.
Hello, it really was. But you know, where, you know, kids are involved and we're like family and having Thanksgiving together, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But for me, it was one instance after another instance of just like this real sly disrespect and arrogance. And those are no-goes in my life. Like, no, we're kind, gentle people around here, and if that's not you, you know, you go next door, you know. And so it just became too much. And I remember I looked around and I was like, is there growth in this space? And I didn't see growth, and that gave me peace to move on. And so
question.
that day, I was just like, you know what, guys? I said all of them down. There's 8 of them. I said all of them 8 down. I said, you know what, guys? I'm not quite happy with this, that, and other thing. And this here is going to be my last day. I wish you all so well. Thank you for the joy. Thank you for the memories. But this is where I end, and my journey goes on elsewhere. And that was my piece. And I was like, deuces, you know, tears running down my face as I drive down the expressway. But, you know, that was my story.
Wow. That's a valid question.
But it's impressive to sit 8 people down too, and just be like, you know what, this isn't working for me. I mean,
the boss, girl.
That's amazing. But also at the same time, like you said, you walked away. You know, you said it with, you know, this is you made your stance. You set your boundary, but you said it with tears in your eyes, and you're driving away. How did you? Because I keep seeing a theme in some of the conversations that I've had. The research that I'm doing on friendships and coping, maintaining, and separation. Did you have like repercussions as far as, you know, feeling guilty or just having a void, like afterwards, like after making that big statement and that decision, even though you knew it was best for you? What were your, I guess, feelings afterwards?
Because that was a spirit-led decision that I made. I did that for the well-being of my entire person.
Yeah.
You know, And then the next day when I'm sitting at home and it's silent and my phone's not ringing, my emotions pop up and they're like, girl, you messed up. You know, it was like, girl, that girl still owe you $20. You know?
I should have asked for that before I walked out.
Right, girl, please, you left your crock pot. Like, you know, it was all those things that go through your mind. But at the end of the day, I had to remind myself, I don't care what I lost. I kept my sanity.
Yeah.
And so that gave me peace. And it was a difficult transition because it was my everyday experience to be able to wake up and see text messages and calls from my friends, and then to all of a sudden that's gone. And then to grow quite accustomed to their families and their babies and their spouses, and all of a sudden that's gone too. You know, it really was a raw moment for me. But that allowed me to really look at me and let me actually learn to actually like myself. Now I'm my favorite person. I'm great.
Hey. No, we are pros for that.
Yes.
Like
be
high
your
five.
favorite person.
Yes. I like that.
I'm amazing. I love me some me.
Right.
As you should. As you should.
Exactly.
That's great. No, thank you for sharing, because that's been the part of the conversation. Is that even when people are like, I know that this is the right thing for me, and letting a friendship go and knowing that, you know, or may not know all the things that you're going to separate yourself from, that there's some
respect.
Well, there's respect, but there's almost like a guilty feeling at a time, like, or sometimes, and there's sometimes anxiety that comes with, you know, okay, well, my life was really this way with this person, especially if they were a close friend. And like you said, they were part of your daily life, and now they're not, and you don't know what your life looks like. That could be a little bit of codependency that you didn't know about. All these things.
It pops up.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
Yeah, it was really interesting because, like, there were simple things I had to do. Like, I was like, what's the password for Hulu? You know?
Important things in 2017, okay?
Right? And then it was like, I left this, and what about that? And are you losing your mind? But, you know, maybe they were right when they said that negative thing about you, you know, and your mind goes down that whole rabbit trail. But at one point, you got to grab that rabbit by the tail and be like, no, what, honey, you go back in your little box here, you know, and shift yourself and go into a new mindset, because your thoughts will absolutely lead you down that dark and desperate hole. And you're sitting there trying to claw yourself out, feeling disgusting and horrible. And, you know, there's only so much of that you can stand before you realize when you start doing this, you need to pull it way back. And when you learn those types of things about yourself, I think that's the true joy that those types of friendships can give you.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so good. And it's also like learning what friendship means to you, and understanding when someone friendships is different than you do. Because I think that as I'm getting older, and I'm aging myself again, but as I'm getting older, I'm starting to see like, okay, well, maybe, you know, these people are not part of my lifetime tribe. You know, maybe it's okay that they just came in for now and they've been around, they taught me a lot, but you know what, they friendship different than me. They're great people, but they're just not my tribe.
Yeah.
You know, like just really understanding when people are just not part of your just like you said, your vision of where you want to be, of your growth, of the things that you want out of life, they're just not in line with that. And so in ways they're holding you back when they're not in line with that, because you're just trying to hold on to this life and what they're doing and what's happening with them, but you're also trying to cultivate something. So it's like conflicting in a way. Have you guys experienced that before?
I think people experience that, especially when they have, like, they grow up with friends, right? So they've got, they're like, oh, this is my best friend. I've known them for so long. And, you know, so you have that tie. There's such a comfort, a familiarity, a trust, a bond. But, you know, when you start to grow apart, which we all evolve, and sometimes we just don't evolve together, which is it's not a bad thing. But you see it a lot. Like, there's almost a sense of an obligation because you've known a friend for so long. This is what I keep hearing. Right?
Yeah, I hear that from people too.
And you know that something isn't right. You know that, like, you know you've grown apart, but you don't really want to say it. You don't want to be the bad guy. It's very much like a relationship.
Right.
But there comes a time, and either you get to a point where enough is enough, or you just move away, or whatever it is. There's going to be something that the universe provides, or there's going to be an event that's going to tell you, like, this is enough. This is where I draw the line. Very much like, I think, with Sasha here, but I see we friendship different in the long-term friendships. Like, you just have grown differently, and so there's different foundations or different values that you've now created, but you still feel like an obligation to this long-term friend.
Or what about in the cases where you meet someone, they seem like a good idea, they're good friends, and then for some reason you just start noticing things about the way that they friendship that's not in line with your own values, your own idea of what a friend should be?
Oh, that's easy. I mean, if I just met him, I just create distance real quick.
No, but what about if you don't see it right away? Maybe it's a year down the line, a year and a half down the line, right? Because as you're getting to know someone, you're hanging out with them, but it's not until you go through things and you experience things that things start to pop up and you start to kind of just see people's character. It's like you're kind of seeing their underlying character kind of coming out. Yeah. And you're like, wait a second. Yeah, when this happens, you reacted like that. That seems like it's off from where I need and what I require, and so maybe you require something different, but I require something different. Okay,
like,
wait, our values are different. Like, so
an example.
So just an example, like someone you meet, let's say someone passes away, right? And in your family, and you've had this friend for about a year now. You guys are really good friends. You've been there for her through things when she had someone pass away or she went through something like life-changing. And now it's time for her to reciprocate that for you. But she's not reciprocating anywhere near what you need, require. You're asking for things. She's not reciprocating in that way. So it's like, okay, wait a second. Maybe you don't see it that way. Maybe the way you're seeing things, the way you're viewing, the way you're viewing what friends need to do in these type of situations is not the same as me, or not even in line with me. And even when I'm opening up to you and asking you, telling you what I need, you're still not able to do so because the way you see friendship is in a different format. That's a good example. Thank you. Because I was like, what you talking about, girl? So yes, now you put it into context for me. I like it. Okay. Yeah. So with that, especially in that sense of like, okay, maybe somebody's passed. When I need something, what I do focus on is the people that show up. Like, you've heard that saying that's like, don't cry over the people that didn't come to your party. Like, enjoy the people that did. Right. Quite honestly, whether it's a brand new friendship or a long-term friendship, if I'm in a place that I'm in need, first I need to speak up, number one. Number two, I'm not even paying attention to those that didn't show or that couldn't show, because it just, like, I'm so focused on what else is coming on. Now, in hindsight, when I get past that little area, phase, transition, whatever, I might remember that they weren't there, or I might not. But what about if this person was in your life? Like, it's noticeable that they weren't there. Like, this person was in your life consistently, and then they were just disappeared. You're probably going to just be like, wait a second. Like, you've been here this whole entire time. This happened, and now you're gone? Like, what? But are they my lifeline? Nope. Of course they're not your lifeline, but there's not going to be some agitation, just like the ghosting feeling. Like, there's going to be some type of reaction. It's not going to just be like, oh, I don't care that you were my friend and you've been present this whole entire time, and then now I really need you for something really monumental in my life and you're no longer here. Oh, I don't care. Like, as much as we want to feel that, I don't think that that's 100% realistic. Like, I just wouldn't, I wouldn't focus on, you wouldn't harp on it. I wouldn't. But I would also, I mean, if it was something that, was deep in, I think later I had a sense that was, the wrong thing to do. Sometimes it just doesn't need a conversation. Sometimes you just gradually distance yourself away from people. Mm-hmm. And if they don't notice it and you don't notice, then everybody kind of just naturally goes away, goes their separate way. Mm. I think that in that example, though, I mean, it would require some sort of, it depends on the friendship. Yeah. It really does. I mean, I would hope that you would have a conversation with that person, especially if you're asking of them and they're not, that they would be able to come and sit down and say, you know what, I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you because X, Y, Z. Right. You would hope that.
But if not, once again, the lesson is that's their character. Or in this moment in time, I'm just going to assume the best and say they just couldn't do it. Doesn't mean that we're going to be as tight. I'm going to adjust accordingly. But at the end, I'm always going to ask myself, like, what can I do? Because I'm not dependent on you.
You have to make a decision. Right?
Yeah.
How about you, Sasha? What are you thinking?
I guess in order for me to answer thoroughly, I have to redefine my answer for friendship. And my definition for friendship truly is they're your mirrors. They're your mirrors.
Oh, yes.
Hello. And all that means is that the people that you encounter are especially the people who get real, real close to you. Those are the people who show you the most true version of yourself and show you the faces of you that you don't quite want to acknowledge. I had this one friend, she used to always, always, always irritate me. I loved her, but she always irritated me. And my other friends would watch and be like, girl, y'all the same person. No, I'm not. Yes, y'all are. Y'all both take forever ordering. Y'all don't like salt on y'all fries. Y'all the same person. And when I started to look at it from their perspective, I did realize that, and those were aspects of me that I just was not like, I was like, whatever, that's not me. Like, I'm going to be selfish today, and that's fine. But even just what we're talking about with transitional friendship, at the end of every day, I see life this way. I stand in the mirror of myself by myself. And so we all do that. And subconsciously, I think we all want to look out for ourselves. We have a selfish mentality because we think that there's scarcity. And so when people who we love and who we give things to, ourselves, our time, our energy, our resources, when they're like, never mind, this is finished for me, goodbye, no explanation, and it's not the way that we think it should be done, we get upset because we feel like something's been taken from us and we don't realize all that's been given to us. And sometimes their parting in that dramatic way is the final lesson they can give us because they're no longer an accurate mirror because you've healed those places in yourself. And so we're holding on to people and they're not even our true representation anymore. And wherever there's a void, it must be filled. So that means that there are other people who are now your more correct match who are trying to come into your life, but all your attention is held up on those who just don't want to. And that's fine, especially when the people who are super, super close to you come and go in your life. I think those are the ones you really need to take a moment and pause and reflect on, because if they cause you to feel life real turned up, either real good or real negative, please pause and acknowledge what you're feeling, because you're feeling that because there's a lesson behind the feeling, and that's truly what I think. Like, oh my God, you did this and this absolutely pissed me off. Good. You're supposed to be pissed off. Why did it piss you off?
It's clear.
And when you kind of go through that adventure, like you will learn things about yourself, and it's great because you're like your own big storybook. And so these friends, they literally are that. They help you transition into higher levels of yourself. And when we see it that way, we don't
get mad,
harp on the, oh my God, you did this. Girl, please. You did not birth me.
Yeah.
And if you did birth me, you still have a time you have to leave my life.
Right.
And so I'm going to enjoy you right now. And then when you're not around, I'm going to enjoy the memory of you. And that's okay.
Yeah, I think we get attached to people. You're right. Like the way you said that, we get attached to like people as if like they're supposed to, like they owe us their presence all the time and their attention and all of this. But you're right. I actually, one of the friendships I expired most recently, I had that conversation. I was like, you know what? Thank you, because God used you to teach me something. Like, I'm not even mad at you. Like, I'm glad that this worked out the way it did because it taught me something about myself. And I was so happy and proud of myself to have come to that, because I'm usually the person that's like, why somebody hates me? What's going on? I didn't do anything. I'm being a good friend, because I exhaust a lot into my friendships. And so when I don't feel like people are reciprocating or I feel like I'm being cut off short, I usually take that personal. And for the first time with this person, I was able to identify the lesson they brought to me, which was to get back to me. And to put myself first. And
are you just pissed off all the time when you have all those expectations on people?
It's more of the expectations I have of myself.
Yeah.
Now, what I have to do is understand that is not going to be reciprocated. And that's understandable. I just need to know how much I'm willing to give and to others, and then what I'm willing to give to myself. And I need to allocate things for me.
Absolutely.
That's perfect. You know what I think too? I think that those uncomfortable reactions that we have, they should just be like markers to let us know what we will accept and what we will not accept. Like, oh my God, that didn't feel too good. That's not what I want in my life.
Let me put that on my list.
Yeah,
right.
It's those red flags. It's the red flags, and it just allows you to be quicker in your decisions as you move forward in life. Like you said, when you have a person, and then all of a sudden they've been in your life for a year, and then they fail you. It feels like they failed you, right?
It feels like a failure.
Right. But I'm sure that we've had red flags all throughout that year that we just weren't paying attention to.
That we allowed to.
Yeah, that we just didn't. Just weren't. And so, to your point, yeah, like I believe that, yes, that these friendships that expire, you start to see things and you start to remember what that feeling is. That's a little red flag that's like, and then you're like, oh, and either you make the decision, you start to decide for yourself how you're going to shake and move with that person.
Right. Is this attachment though? I think the attachment part is like the human aspect of us that want to like hold on. But if we really just see it as like people are just coming in to drop you a little something of information, of knowledge and experience, a lesson, whatever, it's like, okay, well, let's transition. It's time for you to go, and it's okay.
A friend of mine had made a comment, and she was talking about her and an old girlfriend who they were really close, and some things had happened, and this girl got married, and then she started to change. The husband wasn't like the best, I guess. The crew of girls just felt that way, but they started to see some changes within her, and they were having a conversation, and this girl had said some pretty hurtful things. And so my friend had addressed it and said, hey, you know what, like, I feel like you owe me an apology, just because, maybe not an apology, like not those words, but, you really hurt my feelings, like this is what. And the girl kind of blew her off, was like, what? Are you kidding me?
They usually do. I mean, nobody likes to admit that they did something wrong, right?
I mean, not that.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah, so, but and in that, my friend had learned, like, okay, well, that was kind of the last straw, but there's just that whole process of saying, okay, even though I know I'm putting myself first, that this sucks. And she said, you know what, the crazy thing was, this was a great woman. She was like, she was perfect just the way she was. Married to her husband, like, in that time, she was perfect just the way she was. I was perfect just the way I was. We were no longer perfect together. And that was the saying. I was like, oh. I mean, that can be applied to so many situations. So many situations. Like, and when you kind of think of it like that, I also feel like maybe you just don't take it so personal anymore.
Right.
You can just say, you know what? You're on your journey too. I see you. This just no longer is working for me. Like, it's okay. And it's okay.
It's really okay, though.
It's all right.
Like, it's really okay.
Yeah.
So how do we transition with the relationships and then the aftermath, right? Like the forgiveness part. Do we forget? Do we take notes? Kind of like what Sasha said about, like, okay, well, I know I don't like that, so let me write that one down so I know how to avoid that next time. Like, how do we do moving forward, right? After we've expired these friendships, like what happens next? Sasha?
Well, to me, eat the fish and leave the bones. Take what you can and leave the rest. I have an old Southern country mentor, and that's what he told me. Eat the fish and leave the bones.
I like that.
Yeah, take what you can and leave what you don't. Take the good memories, take the lessons, and leave the rest. Leave the discomfort, because you don't want to carry that. And if you do carry, my thing is this. I tell anyone who's going to listen, if you're going to carry around negativity and discomfort, make sure it's working for you. If it's not working for you, it shouldn't be there. It's really that simple. Make your life super easy peasy.
So you say forgive for yourself.
Yeah, that's the only way you can truly forgive is for yourself. For me, forgiveness encompasses forgetting. but you have to be able to suck the wisdom from a situation. And if you can't do that, then you're going to always remember the negative moments, and that's always going to remind you. But take the nectar from it and leave all the discomfort where it's at.
Your words are so good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm a writer. That's what I do.
I know. I like it. What do you? Let it out, Adrienne. Just let it out. Release it.
Just sitting here
She's
thinking.
making all these faces, Sasha. That's
No, not at all.
I love it.
It's just that part right there just hits me like in the gut.
Oof.
It just hits me in the gut. So maybe it's a conversation of, and I'm thinking as we're on air, maybe I just need more time. But I've had a situation where I had a friend for a very long time, somebody who was very close to me, someone who was my chosen family. And, when they do something that is so intentionally evil, and it's very intentional, I'm in transition, and I struggle with the forgiveness, and I've realized I forget a lot. I choose to forget a lot. I've deleted pictures, blocked everything. Like, there was at one point in time I switched phones, and she got to me. She got to me, and she snuck in and sent me a text, and I was like, and real talk and transparency, I'm in a physical anger part now. And so in these transitions, and this is a heartbreak different than any relationship or any other friendship ever before.
It's like family.
This was family. And it's insane. It's insane to think that that this is even a possibility. Because you think about your future, the things that you guys had talked about, we're going to be in the old home, house, and we're going to be in our wheelchairs rolling around to some trap music. And I really, we would envision that. I really thought that would probably happen. And that's definitely not going to happen. So
it's the betrayal.
There's a betrayal. There's a lot of that. But also, I was surprised by the feelings, and I'm very quick to cut people off, but this one is just taking a lot longer. And so the forgiveness I really struggle with. with.
Good. I'm happy that that's your experience. And the only reason why I say that is not to be facetious, but because on the other side of this is a massive lesson that will shift your experience with loving people. I think the trueness of our experience on earth is to learn how to love unconditionally. That means even if you decide that today I'm your enemy, how can I love you? Now, the joy in the journey is when the journey's over.
That's right.
Because you have to go through it, and going through it, that's where you encounter you in the most turned up of ways, especially when you allow yourself to be free, because now you can look inside of all the nooks and crannies of you. When massive hurt comes into you, it's like a floodlight that shines inside of your crevices, so you can see, behind that little thing right there is called a big old smile, is a little bit of insecurity and self-control issues. Oh, good. I wouldn't have been able to notice that had this situation not unfolded this way. Right. And so, and the fact that your friend allowed that to happen in that way means that there's hurt that she's standing on top of. Because there's no way that you can love someone and do that because unless, now let me say it different. In your friendships, you want to express love, but when you don't see love, you see the opposite of love. And the opposite of love is, to me, the opposite of love is fear.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yes, girl.
And so there's something there that's causing her pain and discomfort, to where her reaction is to be a puffer fish, and to be like, no, you ain't going to hurt me, so I'm going to be real big and nasty looking. No, boo. It's okay. You all right. I love you still. Even though this is real messed up, I'm going to give you 50 feet and I'm going to keep it moving. But appreciate the lesson. And the process of getting to that and saying it with such a sober mind and a sober heart, that's what life is trying to give you. And even though the friendships may be marked best friend or sister, it's okay if the roles begin to change. We have to allow ourselves to move through life fluid and
Right.
not stationary.
Right.
And detachment, right? Like, I feel like we need to get comfortable with detaching ourselves from our ideas, our beliefs that were old to come into new. Life is about changing. Life is about evolving. We always have to detach from something to get to the next thing. There's always a next thing. And so that's actually something I've come to terms with as of recent, and really I'm trying to master it. I want to master detachment so that none of us are going to be here forever. Nobody around us is going to be here forever. We're going to have to get comfortable with death. We're going to have to get comfortable with losing friends. We're going to have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think a lot of that has to do with exactly what Sasha said. Like, you know what? I'm going to love you through it. And I know that it's a deeper thing that has to do with you, not with me. And I'm going to love you through it. I'm going to take my lessons from this because there's something in here for me. If it's happening to me, around me, in my life, there is something that you can get out of it. It's always somewhat of your responsibility. There's something in there that you played a part in. There's something. There always is one thing out of it. I like to believe. Because no one else has control over your life and in your life but you.
No one else has control over your perspective but you.
There you go. Yes. This got good. I didn't even know it was going to go over here.
No, it was really, like, I appreciate your words, Miss Sasha. Like, I really do. Because, like I said, I'm not there yet. I don't even know if I will ever be. But I shouldn't say that because ever's a long time.
Nothing is impossible.
But I would say, like who knows?
Pray about it.
Yeah.
Right, because the only thing that I can say is, like, I think in the transition, the one thing that I've been able to hold on to, I think, is, even though there's such a void because she's abruptly out of my life, I was very aware of the overabundance of love that I received tenfold. Like, that she could never reproduce herself. Not that she's not able, but she's only one person. You see what I'm saying? Like, I was trying really hard at the time, say, like, I'm missing so much love, but I have so much. You know what I'm saying? And the flip side, I've done a lot of work in just, like I said, exiting this person out of my life. And that meant in memories, in photos. But I'm grateful. I found gratitude in the indirect connections. And what I mean by that is I have friendships that are through her, in the sense that, like, because her and I were friends, I got to meet people that I don't know I don't know if I would have met without her. Does that make sense?
You know, I think that what you're saying, absolutely, it's so valid. I think the way that you get through it is to pay attention to today. Pay attention to the moment. How is this moment unfolding? How do I feel right now? What is before me? Is this friend that she introduced me to, are we talking in this day? And if we are, how did the conversation go? Like, if you stay on this moment rather than reliving the past and trying to predict the future, you will save yourself so much grief. Mm-hmm. And even me today, I am still learning that lesson, because I am like, I need to understand what this had, and, like, it's a thing. And
it's a process.
It really, really is. And I have a mentor who told me, he said, the key to life is learning how to surrender. Surrender everything. Surrender your hopes, your fears, and your everything. Even being able to be free enough to release your money. And I thought that was a really interesting concept. And the more that I grow through life, I understand that surrender really takes a lot of different forms.
Yeah.
Because you have to surrender your past and surrender your future in order to truly grasp the moment that's in front of you. Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And the removing part, like, I love memories. Like, I don't know, I guess I've gotten to a space that even the people that have done me wrong and everything, like, I still could smile and laugh about things that I've been through with them. Like, I don't know, my heart, I realized that I love differently. My heart is definitely different than the people that I've engaged with in my life, because I don't I don't think there's anyone that I really, really hate and I'm really mad about, no matter what they've done to me. Like, I, s- I see people, I expressed this to you, I see people based on their potential. I also see people's fears and growth, and the fact that we're all just trying to literally, like, do the best that we can, and a lot of us are moving through fear. Like she said, like, it's fear that makes us do all these things. We're all trying to mask something and run away from something, that it makes us hurt others sometimes in the process. And so I try to focus on that, and love them through that, even from afar, and really cherish the moments. I love beautiful moments. I love remembering beautiful moments. So when I think about those people that have done me wrong or I'm no longer friends with, I smile, because I'm just like, we had good times regardless of how things conspired. It was fun, and we had good times, and we had good memories, and like, I love looking at pictures. I don't stay in the past, but I do tap into my past to, like, remember how far I've come and how many great moments I did have, and that it's and we have, and life is all about moments, and it's all based on what you choose to remember. And I have a choice of that. I have a choice of my memory, and my memory is going to be the good things that came out of it, and the good memories that I can tap into.
I think
So-
yeah, that we all would. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, that would
so I love it. I don't know. It's
just started rambling about good memories. That was good.
Yeah, it was just so good. I love it. I just love it. It doesn't matter. It just really doesn't matter where we're going to be friends forever or not. It was good while it lasted.
No,
Period.
no, I think that the learning lesson is, when you have, because there's plenty of people that I'm not friends with anymore, but it's clarity. At the end of the day, it's clarity.
Mm-hmm.
When you have, if you're separating, if you can't find gratitude in the actual friendship, or you're not there yet, at least I'm trying to tell myself this, there's a clarity aspect that you can say, okay, well, this is what I no longer want. It gives you, if there was any confusion, or maybe you just needed more clarity, like, you have it. So you just, and in this, I think in any other situation, this one's just close to home and I'm still in it, but I think in any other situation, and from what the people I was talking to, I just lost it, my clarity.
It's clear.
Oh, you're
though.
finding the contrast. That's what it is. Like, you have negative things that happen in your life, and I'm constantly being reminded not to, like Misash said, like, not to review in the past. The only reason that you do that is you look at those memories to understand what it is that you do not want, so that you can then figure out what you do want and focus all of your energy on that. And that will show up in your present. Like,
That's good.
that's
Definitely.
so hopefully maybe that'll be a tip of the day.
Yeah, that's a good tip. It's a good tip. I like it.
I guess in all of our experiences, I would want to ask, I'm kind of wrapping up, what would be your top tips, when it comes to expiring friendships and dealing? Like, what would be the top 2 things that you would say, top 2 or 3 things that you would say? Miss Sasha, will you let us in on what your top 2 or 3 things would be?
Oh, yes. Number 1 is feel it all. Feel it. You have to feel it. If you don't feel it, that feeling will come back around and ask you to feel it again later.
Man.
So feel it the first time.
Man.
Feel it.
And we run away from those feelings.
All the time.
No, I mean, those feelings come with lessons.
They do.
I enjoy those feelings.
They do, and it's actually a really good advice. I just had to jump in because I was like, I know
All up in
myself,
our
or
feelings.
just other people that, as soon as something would feel uneasy or hurt,
Running.
trust, I was running. I was finding the next adventure and escape that I could get my little hands into.
I was hiding in my bed.
Yeah. I
You know
mean,
what? I'm right there with you. That was one of the biggest days I used to do. But like, you know what? No, I'm straight, please. And then go find a bottle of booze. Are you kidding me? Like, but I got to a point for me where I was like, number 1, I can't like go nowhere. Like, I can't leave my body. They're here. Let me like deal with it, because if I don't, it's freaking killing me.
Yeah.
And then like I had a situation where I broke up with a guy, and it absolutely just broke me into little bitty pieces. And I was like, to whom it may concern. And in expressing myself and allowing myself the freedom to express freely was a really big deal to me, because that was one of the things I used to struggle with, was expressing myself freely. I always kind of censored what I said. And so he gave me that lesson, and it's okay. So top tips, number one would be allow yourself to feel. And I guess semicolon would be allow yourself to express. So, because those feelings cause reactions, and you need to see those reactions so you can grow, because you don't know what's in you until it comes out of you.
Right.
Also, give yourself some time and some space. Sometimes we rush through things like, I need to be better. You shouldn't be. Please. It's over when it's over. Like, you can't tell yourself it's going to be. You need to go through the actual experience. And then forgive. First, you have to allow yourself to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself sometimes for putting yourself in such horrible situations where now you warrant a doctor. You need someone to heal you because you put yourself in a compromising situation. So allow yourself to forgive yourself first, and then forgive them. And I think the rest of it, the 4 would be live. Just live. Live your life. Life will keep on going. I know it hurts today, but tomorrow it may not hurt so much. And the next day you'll probably forget about it. But it just keep on going. Live your life. Be real happy. My thing is always do a shimmy. And,
she got to dance for it.
Please keep a shimmy in your front pocket and a body roll in your back pocket. Yeah. That's real good.
A shimmy in your front and a body roll in the back.
I like that.
Hey, we just did it for you.
See, that's you living. That's what it's about.
I love that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, I guess for me, I would say God is good. I think that we need to understand God, our guidance, our universe, Allah, Buddha. I mean, whoever it is that you pray for, the higher being, they're guiding you, and it's showing you exactly what you need to pay attention to. So really, it's paying attention to the bigger picture, and what you're supposed to learn. And when you pay attention, you learn about yourself. You learn the lesson that this is coming into. Understand that you are the master of your experience. No one else holds that. No one else holds your emotion and your reactions to things. So when people are coming with their stuff, you gotta look at it, understand it's their stuff, and don't absorb it. So pay attention. Don't absorb people's stuff. And the third is love. I really, really do believe that our heart and our love is really unconditional. Actually, I really agree with you, Sasha. Like, I think the cure to the world and to ourselves is understanding unconditional love. We're all here. We're all flawed. We're all just trying to really do the best that we can. Our fears, our environment, our past, our trauma, all this stuff comes in between. But really, gotta love people through all the mess, because we're all kind of a mess. And this whole world is kind of chaos. Actually, it's chaos. And so, we just have to understand that we were given the superpower of love. And it sounds cheesy, but it's so real. Like,
so that would be your tip, is to love.
To pay attention. Don't absorb people's stuff, and understand you're the master of your experience, and love.
That's good. That was a long-winded, but yes.
I have to express myself. I need to let it out the way I need to let it out.
You follow it.
I need to do what I need to say.
She said, express yourself.
Right. Let it out the way you want to say it.
You know what? My quick tips are these. I just say, understand that everything, whenever there's an ending, that there is a beginning. So this, whatever you're going through, is not the end all be all. And then to really pay attention to what it is that you don't want, for a sole purpose of finding what it is that you do want. That's pretty much my tips, because I think y'all said everything else.
Sorry we stole it, but we got a lot to say. What can we say?
Hey, no apologies needed.
So I do want to share with everyone the post that Sasha posted on Facebook, which is what inspired this conversation. Yeah. I want to read it to you guys because I thought it was great. People come, people go. They all bring gifts. Some are lessons. Others bring blessings. Enjoy the good, learn from the uncomfortable, and remember to always love people as they are. Establish an open door policy for your relationships, allowing people to leave as they please without an uncomfortable fight to make them stay. And never force people to be what they are not. People do not belong to you. It's okay if they change their mind about hanging out with you. Enjoy the good for as long as it lasts. It's okay when seasons expire.
I like
Good,
that.
right?
It reminds me of the idea that people, like, even relationships or friendships, like, they're on lease. We really are on lease.
I mean, our bodies are on lease. This life is in lease.
Yeah. It's okay.
So it is what it is. So Sasha, thank you for that.
Yes, loved your words.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And to redefine this truth really quickly, a friend is a person who comes into your life for a reason and lessons, sometimes for a limited time. A friendship is cultivated with the agreement of two people mutually deciding to reciprocate core values, that of which can be love, respect, and understanding. And when they are due to expire, well, this is a decision based, circumstantial, or required by the universe as the conclusion of service and purpose.
Nice. I like that.
So that's better than Webster, right?
Always try to be a competition.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Sasha, for joining us. I really, 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 really appreciate it. It was so bomb.
Yeah, you had nuggets of wisdom in here, and we really appreciate having you.
Thank you, guys. I love it. Thank you. This is what I like doing. So thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us and our
Yes,
chat.
guys. Anytime.
Yeah.
Great.
And then for this week's challenge, lovely humans. Think of a friendship that has expired, or maybe that you are holding on to some negative energy, or maybe something has just recently happened. Write down what you are grateful for, whether it's a memory, whether it is the end of that friendship, whether it is another relationship, friendship that you've made due to it. Write it down. Write a list of things that you're grateful for, and then work your way through on letting it go. Tell us what you've learned about yourself.
Love to hear it.
Yes, so you can reach us.
Yes.
You can reach us at Thistru, SoundCloud, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and iTunes.
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Go find us.
And in that, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.